Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, colleagues. I'm Esther Deroux, and I would like to share something that has been intriguing me for a long time, and I would like your opinion on this as well, because I actually think we should not be crossing the midline of the trunk when we tape. I've been very lucky to meet important people, Kenzo Kanza, who developed the whole method, and Professor Fukui, who has written the skin taping book and studied skin movement. And I've been active in the area of taping, especially in pediatrics and neurology, from 2008, and developed the skin approach to taping based on research and my own findings. And the question that I would like to pose to you, is, do we think that crossing the midline is needed? Does it have a function? And especially important, do we need to cover the umbilicus? So I do have quite some questions. When we look at the original pediatric taping book, you can see how the tape is applied, for example, to the external obliques and the internal obliques. And I then wonder, and I know that the authors think they're influencing the obliques by taping in this fashion, but I do wonder, first of all, why is 5 centimeters of tape being used on young children? Why are lots of colleagues just copying the tape without really thinking about it, I presume? I wonder if everybody test patches different brands before they treat children. I wonder why we go into this sensitive area of the lower stomach, and if we can't stay away from it and have good effects anyway. I like staying out of the diaper or underwear if possible. I truly wonder if people really realize they are taping on the epidermis only and nothing else. They are not taping muscles or ligaments. And I think that many people are not taking the physiological movement of skin into account. This picture of Susan Blum's video on YouTube demonstrates a diagonal tape that was meant to be used as an example of compression and constriction of movement, but I see people taping children like this. Another example on the internet, this colleague is demonstrating a tape that is huge for this child, and I wonder if they really think they need that much tape. Because this application does not take the physiological movement of skin into account. And I wonder how, by using both, people think they are aligning the trunk more. And I truly wonder why use so much and such a broad tape on babies? And why is everybody covering that umbilicus? Because Professor Fukui's research has shown that skin moves in a physiological direction, sometimes like in the extremities, and in inflection, extension, ab and adduction, it actually does move in the same direction as the muscles do. But that is not the case for the rotators in the extremities, and it is certainly not the case for rotation in the spine or in the trunk. So if you are applying tape, thinking you are taping on top of a muscle, you can be correct if you're on the extremities, and the skin is actually really doing what the muscle does, but you're not always correct. And in the case of trunk rotation, skin moves in a different direction. So crossing the midline should mean changing direction of tape and tape itself. So this is where we see Professor Fukui and pictures out of his skin taping book, in where he demonstrates that, yes, when we rotate, our skin moves to both midlines, the front and the back, and then does this, depending on the area of rotation. You can feel that yourself if you feel that on your trunk. You can actually feel the skin. If I rotate to the right, the top skin will go in that direction if I move in that direction. But if I do the same on the other side, it doesn't work. I need the other direction, demonstrated in the picture here on the left. So to get rotation to the left of the trunk of this patient, I will need to start here and give that stimulus to the skin, and start here and give that stimulus to the skin, the recoil of the tape, to give information of rotation. And you can see that Professor Fukui does the same, but with smaller pieces of tape, and that you can do that on the back as well. If you want to learn more about the skin taping, Professor Fukui has written a book, but there's about a video nearly 10 minutes long on YouTube called Skin Taping, that you can get an idea of how he works, because he researches the skin movement before he applies. And the other thing, that umbilicus, why do I never cover it? Because it is, for me, it's bacteria heaven. There is a lot of invisible life going on down there. And if you cover it, especially if it comes wet when you've taken a shower, and all these bacteria have the most ideal circumstances of warmth and moisture to reproduce a lot. And I don't think it's very hygienic. Other things regarding hygiene is that I think we should never, ever touch the glue, because our epidermal cells will be put onto the tape, and they will be transmitted to your patient. So I really think, hygiene-wise, we should never touch the glue, and please don't cover the umbilicus anymore. And be careful when you're removing tape. Because going back to that bacteria heaven, research is actually being done into what type of bacteria are found in the belly buttons, and there's thousands of them. That's amazing, and even very new species are found. So if you want to know more, go to this Rob Dunn's lab and read all about it. So safe removal is an issue as well. You can harm the skin when you're removing, and I found that especially either doing it very carefully and horizontal to the skin, or using oil is, especially in young children that we really do not want to harm that skin, is best practice. So safe tape removal is demonstrated here. I don't want skin damage, and it does occur if I remove incorrectly. We strip cells off the skin during removal, and we can prevent that by soaking the tape in oil, and it will dissolve the glue, and the tapes can then be easily removed or fall off spontaneously. So this happened during a class, that during removal it was really hurting. So what we did was put some oil on, and we didn't use it that much. So safe removal prevents skin damage, because skin damage means either you can't tape anymore at that point, and in children it might mean they never want to be taped at all anymore. Removing can be really painful for those, or unpleasant for those with a very dry skin. Some of our children have it. In this case, it's an older lady, but this skin is extremely dry, and you can see how that glue has sort of gone into the epidermal layer and is in it, and you're removing it afterwards. Normally, we don't suggest using tape for a week, but for some reason it was on. And this is the wrong way to remove tape. Fold parallel and pull, as I showed you in the other video. And then, of course, things can go wrong if people have not done test patching of different brands, or that can happen if you've been taping for a long time. a child can develop an allergic reaction to the glue, you get this type of terrible skin rash, meaning you won't be able to work for a while. And as you can see, this child has definitely also had the umbilicus covered. So please, people, think twice before you apply any tape. Are you sure this tape that you want to apply is the right one and your taping goal is clear? Are you taking the physiological movement direction of skin into account? Do you need large bits or can you use much smaller bits? 5 centimeters, made for adults, not meant for children or babies. Have you used your test patches, and can you assess and reassess the effect of your tape afterwards? Can you really describe to me why you think this tape is doing what it is? And please, please don't cover that belly button. And if you do, tell me why, please. And because we could do better. So when you ask me, is crossing the midline with tape needed? I say a big no, never ever do that in the trunk. And cover that umbilicus, never, please don't do that anymore. If you need to, cut a hole, because that's what we do when we actually do cross the midline. The examples when we would use the cross the midline, it is to address the diastasis or the umbilical hernia, and they are often both present in the very young children. We have written an article, a clinical note about this. You can find that on ResearchGate or Academia Edu, showing more examples. And if we do cross that belly button, we cut a big hole so that the air can still reach the belly button. Please do not ever cover it. So I hope you have had a think, and if you do have any really great ideas, please tell us. Please react to this video, and I wish to say hello from the Netherlands, and hope you're all well and stay safe in the coming time. Goodbye.